day, I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again. Good morning. Good morning. I hope I am on. Y'all know being this late, I had to be going through some stuff. I had to reboot my entire system. I came in here, and in spite of all of the things I've been trying to do to get my internet all bells and whistles and all that stuff, I still have a computer which this wonderful internet flows to. And when I got in here this morning, it said I didn't have internet, and I could see the thing on saying that I was online. So it caused me to have to back up and reboot the entire system. And so I've been sitting here jamming because I'll rise up like the day. I'll rise up 1,000 times again. So I had to go through the motions of doing the reboot and trying to get everything back all situated. And so now I'm finally here. I was coming. Oh my goodness, I was coming. Blessings to you. Greetings this morning. This fabulous February, chilly but sunny day. I am just thrilled to finally get this all worked out so that I could get online. I was just, it's so funny because it just is so good. It's so good. And so I was listening to right before. Now I have been through a dozen songs this morning. And the one that was playing just as I was coming in was that Andra Day, I'll Rise Up. And I love that, because it's such a powerful song, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up. In spite of the aches, I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And then she says, for you, but it's for me. And hopefully it's, for you too. But, this thing of us recommitting every day to whatever our journey is, whatever the way that we lens this person that we are into this moment, to just keep coming back to that 1,000 times again. Oh, I love it. 1,000 times or more again. So, y'all, I want to tell you that I am almost at, so I count the days. I have something up here now where I count the days still, but I'm not putting the days up here. So I'm almost at day 600 of doing this. Now that does not count. A while back ago, I stopped counting Sundays in that thing. So I'm well over 600 consecutive days of broadcasting over this thing. Well over that. But, when she says I'll rise up 1,000 times or more, right? That's what we do, all we need is hope. She says, and for that we have each other. And so I'm so glad that that we show up. We show up. But y'all know, I'm going to tell you too, if don't nobody show up, I'm still going to rise up. I'm still going to rise. Oh my gosh. I feel good. I feel good. So, y'all know it's Sandra's birthday, not me, Sandra, but my girlfriend Sandra, who I went to school with, it's her birthday, and I'm like, yay. She called yesterday, and so I am, after I left off of here, and so I'm, if you see her, make sure you tell her happy birthday, because I love It's the thought of, it's not so much about, all these things that we think it's about. Sometimes it's just acknowledging that this is the day that the world was blessed with your presence. And, we get to come into this body, all the ways in which it changes from the little beings that we came into this world as, these little helpless beings with hope and this, this like thought that I got this, I could do this. Let me just get to the point where I'm upright and I'm walking and I'm talking, and as I do, my energy should go forth before me and do what it does. I can remember, moments in my development up in this time where it seemed like I was moving through a valley. Times when it seemed like I was on a mountaintop. Sometimes it was climbing and sometimes it was sliding. And all of those get us here where we are today. So whatever your journey is, it is what it is. I mean, there's, I'm not getting caught up in judging the journey. Oh, because it's so, with all of his vicissitudes, his turns, his sudden drops, all of that, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful, so thankful. And had I known that all of it was getting me to this point, I probably wouldn't have cursed as much. I'm not a big cursor, but I probably wouldn't have cursed as much, or some of the things that, some of the moments when you have those moments, it's all good. Yesterday, I walked my dogs kind of late, because it was already dark outside when I walked my dogs. And it was so funny because, I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but it was so funny because as I was walking, there was this white van that pulled up. And I'm thinking to myself, because I was on the phone actually, and I'm thinking to myself, like, now who is this? Right? I don't even know what I was thinking, but I was like thinking, now who is this about to, say something to me out here in the dark? And I'm so goofy. And when when they pull up and I'm just thinking, what I'm thinking, whatever I'm thinking, like, because sometimes even when I'm walking, I still get play, right? And so you don't know who's about to roll up on you, pull up on you. But this car pulls up and, I'm walking, the dog pulls up and the window comes down. And the funny thing was, y'all, it was my brother. and and so what's hilarious too is that I often find or catch my siblings doing drive-bys. Like they just drive down my street. I love it because there is this thing of looking to make sure that all is well or all is okay. But when he rolled down the window and it was my brother, it was like, yeah, the sun comes out, and I'm so grateful for my family and my parents and the whole thing. I'm so grateful. It's just so juicy grateful. And so what my hope is for everybody that that for that you have people that love you and care about you and check on you, and that you have people that you do that for as well, if it's nothing more than touching bases. I often feel this pang of because there are, I live, for those of you who don't know, I live alone. I have two dogs, and I have neighbors who I am close to that, I got neighbors who I'm close to. And so um, when I know that people are always thinking, when you whatever about, you know things, it's just really interesting to feel still surrounded even when you are alone. I don't Yeah, to still feel totally surrounded and seen and loved and valued, right? I got a feeling that for those of you that were expecting me to be online, my I got siblings that watch here too. So if something were to jump off, it's like I know I'd get a phone call like, "Hey, I don't see you." Just like my neighbor the other day, "I can't get you. What's up?" And so I get calls from out of town, and I feel so blessed. So the love, the love, the love. It's February. Love is in the air. It's February. It's I'm gonna call it African History Month. It's February, and all is well. So yes, I'm sending you love and amazing vibrations. So of course, what I'm going to do is because did I say I love you today? I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And and some people say, and ain't nothing you can do about it. However, here's the other way that I look at that, because it's like, yeah, whatever. People will try you based on that. However, what I look at is that, if I know that all of us live, move, and have our being in God. Really, there is only one. My life, that there's only God's life. That life is my life. That life is your life. We live, move, and have our being in this thing called God. And so the fact that, when we rise up or whatever it is that we're going through, is still that one life. And so even in the resistance of what we're resisting is that beautiful divine one life that is God. And so how can we not love it? Even when I think that I, have contention or issues with it, all I got to do is adjust my lens so that I can see that, to withdraw from it is to withdraw from myself. And, how can I withdraw from it? How can I withdraw from myself? So therefore, how can I withdraw from you? It's a beautiful, it's just beautiful and juicy the way that it works, and when you see it working that way. So y'all know that I share these daily guides, and the daily guides are so rich and juicy, especially now that for February, Reverend Raymond Anderson is doing these. Our art is doing these again. Is doing these again. Yes, I think that's right. All right, so let me read for you this, and for today it is called The Tao of George the Curious. Remember Curious George? I do. Yeah, that's so long ago. The Tao of Curious George. And so his first quote here is from Albert Einstein from Life magazine, printed in 1955. That was before even he was born, I do believe, because I don't think Raymond is that old. So Albert Einstein, Life magazine, May 1955 is the quote that he's taking it from. And he says, the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mystery of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structures of reality. And so, yes, that's beautiful. And so then from Ernest Holmes, Living Without Fear, he writes, or he quotes, if we were to further inquire of of our imagination what the ultimate purpose of evolution is, the most logical answer we could give would be that the purpose of life is to produce beings who can consciously cooperate with it. The most logical answer it could give would be that the purpose of life is to produce beings who could consciously cooperate with it. That's interesting. Interesting. All right, so let's read what Reverend Raymond wrote about this, about the Tao of Curious George. Many a child has grown up with the trials and tribulations of Curious George, the playful, curious monkey that was always getting into trouble. For some, his adventures served as an admonition, warning us to be less curious, lest we, like George, get into trouble time after time. This, however, is not the ultimate lesson afforded us in the metaphysical exegeses of George. I don't normally get stuck on word exegesis of George. It's not the ultimate lesson afforded us in the metaphysical exegesis of George. Y'all, wait. I'm gonna come back to that word. I like learning new words. George invites us into greater levels of curiosity. It is in our commitment to seeking, finding, evolving that we find and can live our spiritual magnificence. George and his friend, the man in the yellow hat, are archetypes of balance, of yin and yang. They temper one another and offer lessons on living in harmony, offering forgiveness, and having compassion. What made George curious? Was it not his desire to learn, to explore, and to understand not only the object of his curiosity, but himself as well in relation to the vast adventure he embarked on? The way of spirit is the way of ever increasing expansiveness. And no matter how much we try to conform to the paradigm handed down to us, George, the Bhagavad of curiosity, offers us a new path forward. He offers us the courage to take that class, to go on that retreat, to write that book, and more. Consider all the vast innovations born as a result of being curious, asking questions, and being willing to explore. The affirmation that he put with this is today I explore the depths of my being and show up in the world as a Bodhisattva, of curiosity. All right. Yay. Okay, so now I tell y'all, when I say I love new words, I love new words. And so let me make sure I have this. Okay, let's see. And here, let's see. Exegesis. Okay, I love that they have the pronunciation thing here. And it says a critical explanation or interpretation of a text, especially of scripture. There we go, exegesis. Okay, and then just one more thing. Give me a okay, here we go. And let's do this particular word. love, love, love. And but here's what I'm gonna tell y'all. And in spite of me saying how much I love learning new words, right? I rarely use bodhisattva. Bodhisattva. A person who is able to reach nirvana but delays doing so out of compassion in order to save suffering beings. Bodhisattva. Okay. There we go. So I will tell y'all, like, okay, so what I was saying is I love learning new words. I love that. Sometimes it is, I dwell on things because I want to understand and grasp that, but rarely do I use, new words or words that I think are unfamiliar to people without offering a definition, one. And because I think I've told this story before, when I first started doing radio back in the 90s, I think it was. And I got on the air with all my $15 words. I was dropping words like this, that, and the other. And then somebody explained to me that if people can't understand what you're saying, then you're not communicating. And so I have taken it as my responsibility to try to create, even in my talking, create things that not only you can understand, but hopefully that you can see. Like when I tell stories, it's because I want you to be able to see what it is that I'm saying. And so when you saw Curious George and the man in the yellow hat, you knew exactly, who that was, because for the most part, if you are an American citizen, you at some point have come across Curious George. And so that's a throwback to something that is just, a beautiful memory for us. But if now all of a sudden so you do have a body of information of understanding, and that, Curious George was always, whatever, getting into some kind of mischief or some kind of something. And so whether we're looking at and talking about Curious George or Eve in the Garden of Eden, there is that part of us that is, intrigued by the unknown. And hopefully we are drawn to explore, to try to figure it out. When we're not, especially if you see children that are not curious, it makes you wonder what in them has gone to sleep. When you are no longer curious, it should make you ask the questions, what part of me is it asleep to the adventure? Buongiorno, come stai? Stai bene? Sto bene? Come va? Is, I'm like, was that two separate languages, put together? Good morning, Sarika. How are you, darling? So yes, sono bene. No, stai bene, sta bene, sta bene. Oh, it's been so long since I've spoke Italian. Sto is masculine, stai bene. Oh goodness. Okay. Just makes me recognize how rusty my Italian is. Woo. Anyway, and the funny thing is I tell you, one of the things that I do is because I've studied French, I've spoken fluently Italian at one time, and I can comprehend Spanish, and I get them all mixed up together, and it's all good. Because at least I know enough for my yays and my nays and all of those other things. So, greetings to you, my darling. So anyway, this whole idea of remaining curious and remaining open, especially at the top, I think is something that, we could all just kind of be conscious of. What parts of me is still up for the adventure? What parts of me? And then that the other thing is that sometimes y'all are tired, and and so there are times at which people don't want to be up for the adventure. They'd be like, oh, I ain't got time for that, right? But here's what I know is that a lot of times things are habitual, right? If you feel like, oh, I want to go lay down or I want to go take a nap, is sometimes because we're in the habit of doing so and not necessarily because we need to. And so we can change habits just as easily, like me waking up at a certain time. If I start waking up at 5:30, if I've got my clock set for 5:30, then not only do I wake up automatically, but my dogs wake up automatically, which means then they wake me up to make sure that I'm up. And so I rarely get a chance to sleep past a certain time because it becomes a habit, a way of doing things. And so we might be in the habit of a lot of things that are not good for us. And this going to sleep to this part of ourselves that is drawing us, of urging us to get excited about life. Whatever that looks like for you, but just to be in that. So when when people talk about, oh, your energy is this, or you're so enthusiastic about that, I got a habit of this. Believe it or not, it's a habit that I go to. And even when, and let me tell y'all, because I told you about affirmations, I talk about mirror work, I talk about all of these things. When somebody asks me, how you doing? Right? I don't finding you. I don't do that. No. I speak to where I desire to be, right? Oh, over there where I desire to be. I'm fabulous. I'm wonderful. I'm amazing. If I got any better, I might levitate. I'm always speaking to that self and so what happens is that as you say it enough, as you are in that resonant energy enough, what happens is that you start thinking like, damn, do I need another word? Because I got to take it higher. I'll rise up. I got to take it higher, right? Because at a certain point, as we elevate, right? And here's the thing, because I don't want anybody to ever think that that I am in this vein of thinking that I'm in one space that all of you, because I wouldn't even be talking to you if I didn't think that it was the goal of all of us. The goal of all of us to rise up. Jesus said, if I be lifted up, right? And so all of us have to have this. If I be lifted up, you say that too. If I be lifted up, I'm going to draw up everybody around me. All of us need to be in that mindset. Not saying that it's over here or somebody else. All these things I do, you can do, and greater, right? I don't know what your greater is, but all of this stuff, we gonna rise up. Rise like the day. We gonna rise up. Good morning, Walker. Grand rising to you. How are you today? We rising up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again. So I just, when we have this two hands for A reason. Okay, yeah. We got two hands for a reason. Yes. And so, if we start like looking at and being about this thing that it's not just cuz yeah, my lesson today was about ego, and when we're thinking about our, this ego self wants to make it seem like there is, and I started off talking about this as if there are divisions or hierarchies or differences in this one life that is God's life, that's my life, that's your life right here and right now. And so if we're all participating in the same life that is God's life, because it's in God that we live, move, and have our being, we are not separate and apart, right? If we are in this, we all have access to the same stuff. We got access to the same stuff. So whatever I got access to, whatever Jesus had access to, whatever Martin Luther King had access to, whatever whoever had access to, you have the same access. It's no different. And so, you have the ability to make it, to make your life what you so choose. If you want to, put on a loincloth and walk around like Jesus or Gandhi, you have that within your ability. It's your choice to make, right? You could be the Forrest Gump of your neighborhood. You have choices. You are not, and a lot of times what we think, freedom, where are you, right? Because I need freedom to. So you a chain breaker. You don't have to do. Now, sure enough, you say, oh, but Sandra, I got to go to work. Sandra, I got this bill to pay, that bill to pay. You might be saying to me, all of these reasons why you can't, but those two are choices. Those two are choices. And no matter what the choice that you make is, you are living at the effect of your choices. So choose you this day, what you're going to do. And so that means don't complain about what you are doing, right? Because you get to, if you choose to work a job and go to work, you get to go to work. It's nothing, no shame in that, right? Whether you're working at the top of your game, right? Whether you owning a business, whether you're working or punching a clock, doing whatever it is you're doing, right? Do it in a sense of gratitude, with a sense of gratitude until you make another decision. Because all of these things are choices. All of them are choices. And you can choose again. One of the things that I know, and I've talked about to Dr. Brown, is this programming that we have in our mind. Our programming tells us it's got to be a certain way. Our programming tells us, this is the work ethic, this is the expectations, this is the, this is the way things work. There's a programming. And you can only say, oh, that don't work if you've actually tried to work it, right? Because nobody could tell me that when I stopped working a regular job years ago, that, nobody could, I didn't know. I know that people say, oh, do what you love and the money will follow. And to some extent, you just be like, oh, yeah, right? Right? Now, but you don't know unless you actually. So yesterday I talked about this idea of what I found out through living life is that, that no matter what I'm doing, that I am taken care of. I get exactly what I need. You see, I got a house, I got lights, I got gas, I got, all of that stuff, right? Oh, but you won't know If you're sitting up and you're saying, "Oh, that don't work," and I can't, then it won't work, right? Thinking it makes it so. And so, as long as you're in the naysayers, or as long as you are that kind of vein, it'll be your experience. But the moment you decide, or you put out there something, some other possibility, some newness, whatever, let's see, right? Let's see. So I don't know. Somebody needed to hear that, because here's when as I'm saying all of that too, I'm saying it with the notion, or with the knowing that it wasn't always easy. I don't think it's easy now. This life I lead ain't for sissies. It ain't easy, right? But it's happy as hell. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. So yes, yes, yes. I mean, and think about your programming, right? Your programming tells you that you need to retire from a particular place. Businesses are not programmed that way anymore, right? They're not looking at you and saying, "Oh, I need to keep you locked up for 25, 30 years." They're not saying that anymore. When it's no longer working for them, you getting the boot. So we are loyal to things and people that are no longer loyal to us. And so you got to check your programming. What does my programming tell me I got to do? Our programming tells us that we can't do this until it's retirement time, and we can't do that until we get married, or we can't do this until we get this education. We can't do this unless somebody else says or gives us permission to do it. We got all of this programming, and the programming is nonstop. It's like, okay, we're gonna make a rule to make this so that a person doesn't even believe that they can do something, because the programming has already said that. Do you know how much, as black folks, do you know how much programming tells you to not even try? That tells you, even before you ask, the answer is already no. Do you know how many people are still operating under that programming? That is a programming that has been, just because of the color of our skin, it has been drilled into our system over and over again. Don't even try. Don't even ask, right? I was listening to a program just yesterday, and the guy was talking about how he was like, I didn't really know, he says white folks think that racism couldn't possibly be real, that y'all just complaining. And he says, and this woman goes to buy a new car. And so she goes in, and, she kind of finds the car that she wants, and she's sitting up there, and she was like, they talking about pricing, and they were like, okay, the price is the price right here on the window. And she says, okay, but if I pay for this in full, like if I pay cash in full, what's the price? And he says, the price is right here on the window. And she was like, you mean I don't even get a break for paying it in full, or paying, I've tried this before when I was trying to buy that Ford Fiesta. I don't know if I had told you. I did tell y'all about that, because it's a story that I probably told years ago. It was a good story. But I tried that because I was going to take all of this lump sum of money that I got, and I wanted a new car, but I didn't want a car note. And so I go into this place, and I was trying to buy this car, and I was like, well, how much of a discount can I get if I pay this in full? If I pay it off. And they were like, none, you don't get a discount. So, okay, the woman leaves out, this is this man's story because it wasn't mine. The woman leaves out and she goes home and she makes a call. She calls a friend of hers, a white guy who she knows, and she says, "Can you go up there and get a price on this car? If you pay in cash out the door, what kind of deal will they work you?" And so the guy goes up there, exact same car, right? And when he's telling them he wants to buy the car, and he says, "Okay, well, how much if I pay cash?" And they said, "Oh, well, we could bring that price down to you, $4,000. $4,000 we can give you off of that car if you pay cash today." This woman was getting $0, and her friend is getting 4,000. So he says, "Okay, well," he says, "give me a second. I got I got a friend that's coming up here, and she's going to get this." And then, they told her that they couldn't give her the same discount break that they were going to give him. They told her that that what we can give you is maybe 1,000 off, but with your whatever, this is what we can offer you. Still getting in the midst of having two people there, they're still trying to tell her they can't give her a discount. And he was like, "I didn't realize how often that happens. I didn't realize how often the gaze of other people with this idea of suspicion." Who was that? What president was that talking about the suspicion of us is based on the color of our skin, unfortunately, based on the color of our skin. So this idea that, the ideas that we have are programmed into us. It is programming, and we have to be the ones that break the chains. Break the darn chain. I'm a break that. I'm gonna break that, because I'm not going to allow it to silence my voice. I'm not going to allow it to silence me. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to be free. And I'm going to tell the darn truth. I'm going to show up. And so all of us have to make a decision about how we flow into the world. Oh, I know. Whatever. I don't know how I got there, but it is that time. So you guys, I said that yesterday that I was going to begin to start this exploration into a new book. And to that end, I want to slide out on that today, because it is such a great book. And I think that there's a lot and it goes along with what I was just saying about language and words and breathing into new spaces and testing the edges of the parameters that have been set up for us to live in. And so when I'm thinking about this, I thought about this book that I had read, Atlas of the Heart. And Atlas of the Heart is by Brené Brown. And I listened to it, I think, sometimes last year. And just such a blessing, right? Such a blessing. And so it is about... I want to say it's about language and mapping the different things based on the language we use. So every day I'm going to you say 2023 is about this continuation of cycle breaking. Yes. And and Walker, I'm going to say, because I'm saying yes to that, with the caveat that that we also need to understand the cycles that we are in, because some of the times the cycles that we are in aren't even our own, if you know what I mean. Sometimes we are in a cycle that has been set up for us by previous generations. And so it's having this ability to look, right? To look at it and to figure out what is working and what's not working, and whether or not you're still working on somebody else's stuff, right? I still have some of my grandma's and my mama's stuff that is in me, that is, that needs to have resolution and closure. So sometimes we try to, we try to get rid of stuff that we say is no longer working, without recognizing that it's not just a matter of throwing it to the side that is the point. But how do I bring closure to this, so that and look, y'all, whether you have ever had children or not, you are going to be somebody else's ancestor. And so what happens in epigenetics is that stuff comes through our lineage, and if you don't resolve it in your lifetime, then somebody else is going to be left to resolve that, or clean up, or pick up the pieces on that. So our unfinished business becomes those that come after us, antecedents, whoever it is that comes after us, sometimes they have to clean it up. And so I recognize that I may not have had children myself, but I still got nephews, and my nephews hopefully they'll have children. I got nieces, and they have children. We got people. And so I'm cleaning up what I clean up here. I got a friend of mine's, and I know I talk a lot. I got a friend of mine's, and his mother's house is, when I say it is packed to the hilt. You ever see somebody who don't throw away anything? Like, could have 70 years old and still have their high school paperwork there, right? They have stuff. And and when I said something to her about, maybe getting rid of some of that stuff, she was like, it ain't bothering me. And, they let them clean up this mess. If somebody wants to come in here after I'm gone, let them clean it up. And, and it's interesting because, many of us have heard over and over again, get your house in order. What I know is that, what I value, somebody else won't value. Right? In whatever it is that you may have, first off, you can't take it with you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that those that come to, close out your life will value or see what is valuable there. As a matter of fact, a lot of times we see people who don't even recognize the value of the things that they have. And so they turn around and, I guess it could fall in somebody else's hands that'll see that it's valuable, or, or want to do something with it or not, right? I could be sitting up here working on all of these books and all of this stuff, and if I was to fall over tomorrow, what do you think? What happened with it, right? What do you think? It'd be in the trash with everything else. Stuff that I done put in really hard work over, it'd be in the trash with everything else. So, take care of what you can take care of, and whatever that may mean, so that your cycle doesn't then fall in the lap of somebody else's. Let me tie up all of my stuff. Let me put it out there and do what I need to do. Because look, Brene Brown is one of those that says, clear is kind, unclear is unkind, right? This has value for me. It has value. And the trauma of my grandmothers, the trauma of my mothers, it has value for me, even though I don't want to be imprisoned by it. Freedom, where are you, right? I don't want to be imprisoned by it, but I do want to honor it and let it go because for them it was important. For them, their trauma, as they get it all in my system, they think that they're doing it on my best behalf, and it's not, right? But I'm not going to take it and say, oh, give me that stuff and throw it out. No, let me ceremonially release this. Let me say that I know that you have, it could have been 100 years that they were carrying that trauma around, 100 years that they were vexed by that, 100 years that something has been problematic for them. So yes, let me honor that, and I'm gonna release it with honor and respect and say, gosh, okay, you had to carry that. Now I'm here and I'm the chain breaker, damn it. Yes, I'm the chain breaker. Because I will rise. All right, so from Brene Brown, I gotta get something in here. Because this is day 2 of me talking about this, and I have it. She opens up her introduction with a quote by Rumi, and it says, "Heart is sea. Heart, Heart, is sea. Language is shore. Whatever sea includes will hit the shore. Whatever sea includes will hit the shore." I like that. And since she went there with that, let me share with you a little story. I love stories, right? And in Tuesdays with Maury, Mitch Albom wrote Tuesdays with Maury, and it was a powerful book about a sports reporter, who met with his, I think it was a college professor, on Tuesdays, as this man was dealing with Lou Gehrigtson's disease that was slowly taking over his body. It's a best-selling book, and just amazing. But there was this one chapter in there that talked about this idea, using water, the sea, the ocean, as a metaphor. And what is a metaphor? A metaphor is, how do I want to say it? A metaphor replaces, or I want to say the word personification, but the metaphor replaces one thing for another so that you understand it more clearly. So somebody might say that that man, Bo, whatever Bo's name is, runs like a gazelle, is a comparison, is making a comparison or a simile. And a metaphor would be to say that he is a gazelle. And so it just, replaces that, like, just taking out that to say that, yes, he embodies that. So in the story Tuesdays with Maury, there's this little story about a wave, and this wave was, on the water, and it's bopping and in the sunshine, and it's just going along, and it's, in the midst of other waves that's going, and they're doing what they're doing. And you've seen waves. You've seen people ride waves, and some waves are big and some waves are small. But at some point, this wave, as it bounced up, it looked up and it saw that there was a shore ahead. And this wave all of a sudden started looking, and it's like it's seeing these other waves crash into the shore, and it started thinking like, "Whoa, hold up! Like we're about to crash," and it's all panicking, like it's wanting to stop, it's wanting to hold back, and the wave behind it is saying, "Dude, what you doing?" And like the sun is out and we're bouncing along. We're having a good time. What are you doing? What are you doing? He's trying to break the rhythm. And the wave, he's saying, "You don't understand. We're about to crash. Don't you see? We're about to crash." And so, this wave is tripping. It's trying to panic. And all of a sudden, one of the waves said, "You," didn't say it like this in the book, but he's like, "You big dummy. Quit tripping. You're not a wave. You're part of the ocean." That's what ego is, right? It's thinking that it is the wave rather than part of the ocean. When you understand that you're part of the ocean, no matter what happens to you, oh, good Lord, googly moogly, that's got a story for somebody. When I first read that story, it was just like, oh, that's so good, right? It's so good. And that's what we do. We think that we're the wave. We get all decked out. We buy expensive shoes, cars, this, that, and the other, because we have identified ourselves as waves. And of course, if you know that you're a wave, then what you know is eventually you're going to meet the shore. A shore or a rock or something, right? And you might sit there and think somehow something is going wrong when you see that thing upcoming. But when somebody finally tells you, "You goof, you're not a wave, you're part of the ocean," then you recognize that eternality of life itself is in God, that we live, move, and have our being. You are not separate. You are not apart. And when you recognize that, right? This life, this one life is God's life. It's my life now. It's your life right now. And so no matter what you see, if you see a shore coming up, you're not a wave. You're part of the ocean. That's make me want to shout. Yes. That's such a good story. And it was in that Tuesdays with Morrie book. And, it's such a good story. You are not a wave. You are part of the ocean. So Rumi, and from that thing, it says, the heart is sea, language is shore. Whatever sea includes will hit the shore. Ooh, for sure. That's good. That's good. So I'm way past my time. So I'm gonna stop right there. I'm not even going to read any more than that. It's just the poem before the introduction. And I told y'all that I could literally spend, if you haven't done a book with me before, you might not know that I could spend a week on a sentence. So, with that, I'm just going to, I get to come back at 11 o'clock with Dr. Brown today. So if you're in and want another dose of me, check me out here. That Dr. Brown conversation will not be on YouTube just yet, because I'll be doing that right on Facebook. But if you want another dose of me and Dr. Brown together, check us out at 11 o'clock right here in the same spot. If you are on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll hear when I'm coming on, whatever the case may be. Y'all, I love you. Because I know I'm part of the ocean, and so too are you, even if you don't know it yet. So, y'all, I'm going to leave y'all with that. Right there, I'm going to drop that. And, yeah. So, I got on red, white, and blue today. I put on my red skirt. And, it's I will rise. I will rise. I will rise. All right. Grace, peace, and blessings to you as well. Sandra, I don't know if you were on here, but happy birthday, beautiful. I appreciate seeing all of y'all. Even if you didn't say a word, remember I can't see you if you don't type into the comment section. I don't see who's on here, but I'm sending blessings to you anyway. And I hope you have an amazing day. And oh yeah, Dr. Brown and I will be back at 11, Sarika. So love you. All right, and I'm going to just end this here. And ooh, where am I? Where am I? Here I am. All right, so I'm gonna end it right here.